G'day everyone, welcome back to Pete's Investing, July 22nd, 2023. This is the currency update. So what we're going to be going through today is these currencies, the Aussie New Zealand, Aussie US, Euro British Pound, Euro US, British Pound US, New Zealand Canadian, US Canadian and US Japanese Yen. We've got a few divergence hit and I'll show you the hourly trend and price action as well for each one. So first off, I just want to talk about the Aussie New Zealand. So what we've got looking at here is the Aussie New Zealand. It did actually, just watch this divergence. The price is still rising, but the CCI is still diverging into a bearish mode. So for this to invalidate, we need to see the CCI rise higher than that point there. So as long as that CCI keeps below that entry level, we're going to keep it open and see how it goes. I've redrawn the Fibonacci's higher to that point there and realigned the target. I've also got this trend line, and that'll be our entry point. If it breaks below that trend line, we'll enter there potentially and see if it hits that target. And just to be careful, we can always bring this target area, just to be a bit more careful. Going to raise it a bit above that 23%. I prefer to attack the closest Fibonacci range as a target area. Down here we've also got a stochastic 800, and you can see there it's just past the that dotted line there is the 50 mark, or the midpoint, and it's just past it. So we're currently potentially in a bullish mode. And if I zoom out here, you'll notice from this wider range we're now reaching the 61%. So if it breaks through that area there, we're going to see further gains. Otherwise it may actually bounce from that 61%, and that's always a key area to look out for. So, and that's why I've got that in red, it bearish retrace to the 61% level. Next, we're going to talk about the Aussie US. So the Aussie US, it's actually retraced past the 50%, and its divergence has been hit. So again, on the Aussie US, you can see there since our last video, the price has retraced back from that resistance, the bearish divergence on the CCI. It broke down and it hit our target, and actually it's gone down beyond that, and now it's retracing past the 50% level. Now, we're not sure where this is going to stop necessarily, but you can see there it's actually heading towards a bearish outlook. It's broken below the stochastic, and that's still in a decline as well, and so is the CCI. So we may see further declines from here. There's no sign yet of an upturn on the CCI. So that's the Aussie US. Next, we look at the Euro British Pound. Now, the Euro British Pound has also bounced off this support area, and it's retraced as well up to the 50% level. And it's pulled back a bit and sort of tracking along this trend line. Now, we had a few divergence back here in these little rectangles. They were the targets, and they've all been hit. But you can see there as well on our stochastic, it's still in a overbought. The CCI is starting to turn down. That could possibly be a bearish divergence, but you can see there that's a lower high, so we're not going to count that, just to be extra careful. If that high was higher, then we'd consider that a bearish divergence. Look, it may well come and bounce and break below this trend line, but we're not going to put any merit on that at the moment. So next on the list, we've got the Euro US. And for the Euro US, we've got a bounce down here from this key resistance area, and it's retraced back down to this 38% Fibonacci retracement from that range there. You'll notice also that hit our target in terms of the divergence. So, and the CCI is still declining. So you can see there that it's overbought, and the stochastic's also turned down. So both those indicators are still in decline. Although we'll still consider it bullish as long as it's above the 61%. But again, we need to see this break below the 61% to be more bearish. And likewise on the stochastic, that needs to break below that again as well. On the next on the list, we've got the British Pound US. Now, British Pound US is also hit its divergence. You can see that it broke down after our last video and hit our target area, and it's actually come and reached now and bouncing around the retrace back to the 61% level. Again, that's the key area we've got to look out for. So it may well bounce from there, or if it continues, There's a slight movement to the upside on the CCI, but the stochastic and the CCI overall are still in decline. So we may see this break through the 61% and have further declines in the short term. So again, there's no divergence. Actually, there might be a divergence there. We'll just mark that. I'll keep an eye on it. It's a small divergence, but it's worth identifying as well. So there's a small divergence there. We'll see how it goes. If it breaks above that area there, then we're going to look at potentially hitting some probably around a 38% level around that area there potentially. Next, we've got New Zealand Canadian dollar. Now on the New Zealand Canadian, there's also bearish retrace to the 61%. You can see there was a bearish divergence. It hit our target in the previous video and it's continued further to the decline and beyond 100% on that level. However, on this wider Fibonacci range, it's actually broken past the 61% level which was there. So that's a very bearish indication that we may see it actually come and rest on this descending trend line. You can see that the stochastic is broken below the midpoint and the CCI is also still in decline. So we may see further downside on the New Zealand Canadian. Next, we've got the US Canadian. Now that's bounced off its support area. So it bounced off this support, hit the target, and it's bounced, retraced back slightly towards the support again, not quite, but it's currently hovering around the 38% level. But overall, it's still in a bearish mode, although it's just broken up through the approaching the midpoint, but it's still in a bearish mode overall. And we need to see it break higher than a 61% and also the stochastic to continue higher as well past the midpoint. That's the US Canadian. Next on the list, we've got the US Japanese yen. And the Japanese yen as well. We've got a divergence hit since our last video. It bounced off the support. That was our target. Went up and hit that area and it's gone beyond that and now resting, retraced back to the 61%. You can see there it's just broken up through the midpoint as well on the stochastic and the CCI is still rising, so we may well see this rise higher in the coming hours on the US Japanese yen. That's it for the moment, guys. We'll keep you up to date with any probably on a daily basis, most likely, with these changes. We'll identify any further divergence or any divergence hit, especially the Aussie New Zealand. Keep an eye on that. So again, feel free to subscribe to the Patreon page where we also do weekly scans of stocks, currencies and commodities. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.